So hey guys, and thanks for joining me for another video. Welcome to the Random Watch Dude channel. If you haven't watched any of my videos before, I'm just a random dude who likes to talk about watches, this mad obsession that is the watch collecting journey. And I made a series of videos during the summer here in the southern hemisphere because it's winter now. I made a series of videos during the summer, and it's titled Watch Collecting Madness. I talked about the madness of watch collecting, and I came up with a few examples and a few analogies of why this watch collecting hobby is just complete and utter madness. And this is kind of a follow-up video to that, really, guys. This is Watch Collecting Madness. This is the winter edition, and today I want to talk to you about how watch collecting is a marathon and not a sprint. But I'm also going to give you a little life hack at the end. I'm going to give you a little bit of advice on how to hack the hobby, how to hack the marathon and get to the end of the sprint. So keep an eye out till the end, guys, because that's the life hack that we all love, isn't it? Yeah, so guys, the marathon of the watch collecting journey, and like most of you, I kind of commenced my watch collecting journey just by buying a Seiko dive watch. I think I had just a normal wristwatch. I can't even remember what I had, and I just decided one day that it was time for me to get another wristwatch. We just finished building our house, and I think we just had our second child, and I thought, oh, I'll just get another watch, just spend a couple of $300 on getting another watch. And I bought a Seiko SKX. I did my due diligence, and I bought a Seiko SKX, and at that time, this is when Seiko SKX dive watches had the screw-in crown with the 7S movement. That was not a automatic movement. Sorry, it was an automatic movement, but you couldn't hand wind it, so you had to wear it, to keep it going. And yeah, look, I love that watch, but as soon as I bought that watch, after a few weeks, I became bitten by the bug, and I ended up buying lots of different Seikos. I bought the Alpinist, was another very commonly adopted Seiko once you get into the hobby. I think that was the SARB 017. I bought one of those. I ended up having 3 of those over the years, by the way, and you'll know what I mean by that. But yeah, did I think, guys, and did you think that 10 years later, 10 years after getting into watches, that you'd still be agonizing over the next watch? You'd still be agonizing over the hobby. You'd still be agonizing over NATO straps, agonizing over bracelets, agonizing over service intervals, agonizing over the wait list for a Rolex. Ah, the agony of watch collecting, guys. You sort of think to yourself sometimes, why do I do this? Why am I even interested in this hobby? I'm spending half my time being really unhappy. So why am I doing this? And I think there's something in the human psyche, isn't there, that that you need to be a little bit unhappy and a little bit frustrated and a little bit anxious to actually enjoy the good times in the hobby. So there's the agony of always wanting another watch, isn't there? There's the bitter disappointments of buying a watch that you've been ogling over on the internet for months and buying it, and when you finally get it, it's nowhere near as nice as you wanted it to be. It doesn't feel as comfortable as they told you it was on YouTube. And of course there's the agony, also the anxiety of being on the Rolex waitlist, or the waitlist for any really nice watch these days, and never getting the call and being fobbed off and told, oh, next month, next whenever, and it never comes, does it? There's agony, there's envy as well, guys, of the other guy that got the watch that you want. Why didn't I get it, and why did they get it? The envy, and you're just never satisfied, are you, guys? I mean, let's be honest, even when you get that dream watch that you've been ogling over for months, it doesn't take long for you to suddenly start ogling over another one, and the whole cycle repeats itself, doesn't it? So we're always looking for the hack, aren't we? We're always looking for the life hack, the shortcut to watch utopia, the shortcut that's going to take us to that magical place where we don't have any agony, we don't have any envy, we're not constantly disappointed by not getting the call. You know, we're buying watches that are just magnificent, and the internet, what the internet told us about that watch is actually true, and it is comfortable, and it is an affordable watch. So guys, you know, looking for that life hack, looking for that shortcut to utopia, I've got the solution to that. After many years of watch collecting and agonizing and really delving into some of the psychology of watch collecting and trying to understand it, I have got the life hack for you guys. I've got the shortcut that's going to get you out of that horrible, messy abyss that you're wading through right now, that I've just described, which, don't kid yourself guys, you're all going through it or have been through it at some point. I will give you the life hack at the end. But I think we need to understand the journey as well. The journey starts, and I've written a little list of how the journey typically goes, guys. And you start with your Seiko, as I described earlier. You get yourself a nice cheap Seiko, and then you think, oh, this is not bad, this is a nice affordable watch and I'm really enjoying it. So you get yourself a mid-range Seiko, so you go for the Prospex lineup, you get yourself a 62 mess or something like that, you know, the reissue. You step up the ladder, you go up to your $1,000 watches, your $1,500 watches, and then you think to yourself, oh cool, you know what, I really think I need to get a Swiss watch in my collection. So go and get yourself a Tissot PRX, or you get yourself a Tag Heuer Aqua Racer, and that's it. You just think Swiss watches are the bee's knees, don't you? You think you've really lucked out when you get that Tissot PRX, and you think, well, yeah, this is an affordable alternative, isn't it, to that, you know, $15,000 watch that I can't afford, the Tissot PRX. And then you get into Chewdor, guys, you know, I mean, that Hans Wilsdorf fella, you know, the guy that everybody overrates, he was really onto something when he invented Chewdor, wasn't he? I mean, he said it was a watch for the common people. Well, it certainly is, because, you know, once you get into that mid-range of affordable luxury watches, Chewdor is definitely a fantastic option. But boy, you know, the really nice ones are still quite hard to get, even in 2024. So there's your frustration, guys, and sometimes you have to even go on a list to get yourself a Chewdor. So you stay stuff that, I'm going to get myself into vintage. So you start getting obsessed with vintage watches, guys. And if you haven't already been obsessed with vintage watches, please take a piece of advice from me, is don't start, because vintage is a massive rabbit hole which will take you deep underground, guys, and I'm not entirely sure when you're going to come back up once you get into vintage watches. Although when you do find a fantastic vintage watch, it's very satisfying, I will say. Right now I've got myself a really nice vintage King Seiko, and I'm absolutely loving that, guys. It's a day date from July 1969. Absolutely love that watch, guys. It's accurate. I really lucked out when I got that watch. It's definitely a once in a blue moon acquisition that I got there, and I'm loving it. But I've had some dodgy vintage watches, and I've had some vintage watches which end up being too small, or just a general disappointment all round, and you flip them. So then you get out of vintage, and then you get into your higher end. You know, maybe your disposable income level has gone up over the last few years. You know, as you get older, it typically does, or should do. So you end up getting into Amigas, guys, Amigas. And I know some of you don't like me saying Amiga, because you think it should be Omega, or something weird that you do with the G, Omega, or something like that. But guys, it's Amiga. And I'll tell you why it's pronounced Amiga, because James Bond pronounces it Amiga in Casino Royale, when you know, when the finance woman who comes and sits opposite him on the train and says, I'm the money, and she's doing a little character assassination of him, and she says, oh, I bet you wear a Rolex, don't you? And he goes, no, Amiga. And she says, beautiful. So, guys, Amiga, not Omega. Anyway, you get yourself into Amiga, and then, of course, you aspire eventually to the Rolex. You know, get yourself a nice Rolex. So you get yourself on the list, and eventually, guys, you get a Rolex, eventually. But what happens when you get a Rolex? You want more Rolex, and this is just the cycle, guys. This is just how it goes in circles, because I've gone to that stage now where I've ended up acquiring more Rolex. And then what do? I go right back to the very beginning of the journey where I started, and I start getting into cheap Seikos again. And that's how it goes. It just goes in these cycles. And then you start obsessing over collection size. I certainly have, and I've made videos about collection sizes, you know, 1, 5, 10, 15, 20. Guys, I got no advice for you there other than to say that once I get above 10 watches, I get quite anxious, and I think 5 to 7 is about my sweet spot, but some of you guys are happy with 20 watches, and that's great. But guys, yeah, look, I've got a few tips here. I've got a few tips about you know, how to try and remain sane through this process. As you're going through this process, before I get to the life hack at the end, how to hack this entire process, I think it's important to understand some really key indicators that are going to keep you from going completely mad. And I've got 5 points, and I'll go through these very quickly. Number 1 is acceptance. Accept the reality. Don't be in denial that you're in this process, guys, of being obsessed with watches. Accept reality. That's the first step towards enlightenment, is acceptance, right? Number 2, and this goes without saying, right, but I think sometimes we forget this, is we're all so privileged to be in this position where we can have this ridiculous obsession over watches, and we can have this pathetic argument internally about which watch is best, you know, which is better, you know, the Tissot PRX or the Longines Zulu. You know, we have these really stupid conversations in our mind that are really absolutely benign, and we are so privileged, guys. If these are the biggest problems that we have in our lives, we are so privileged, and I think sometimes we forget that. So being humble, be able to laugh at yourself, you know, have a sense of humor about this. These are first world problems, guys. First world problems that we're talking about here. This video is a first world problem, and I think we're very privileged that we can be in this position where we can actually have this conversation, and it's probably going to be the biggest deal of our day. Number 3, guys, is nobody, accept this please, nobody else gives a damn about your watch hobby and about the watch that you've got on your wrist. Nobody cares, guys. They're either don't care or they're jealous. But there's no I'm really happy for you in the watch hobby. That doesn't exist, guys. It just doesn't. People either don't care or they're jealous, and you have to accept that, I think, to a degree. Nobody else, and definitely not your family, I found, gives a damn about what you've got on your wrist. Number 4, guys, affordable alternatives. I've even seen a few videos lately. Seems to be a thing at the moment, and I think it's because we're going through harsh economic times. A lot of YouTube videos suddenly coming out about affordable alternatives to expensive watches. Take it from me, guys, affordable alternatives do not exist. There is no such thing. There are watches of different price brackets. None of those watches in each price bracket is an affordable alternative to a more expensive watch. It doesn't work that way. So my advice is stop watching videos and taking it literally when they say that this Chewdor is an affordable Rolex. It's not. It's a Chewdor and there's a Rolex. There is no affordable Rolex. That this Tissot PRX is an affordable AP Royal Oak. Don't make me laugh. Longines, Seiko, Tissot, Tag Heuer, they're not affordable alternatives to anything, guys. They're just watches in a price bracket, and they're good value for money, but they're not an alternative to a more expensive watch. That doesn't exist. It's all a bit of a mind trick, really, and take it from me, guys, there is no alternative to a Rolex Submariner. There just isn't. So finally, number 5, just point number 5 that's going to help you get through this nutty madness that is collecting watches, and accept the fact, guys, that we are all victims of social media and social grooming. We have to accept this. If the internet didn't exist, if YouTube didn't exist, if Facebook didn't exist, if the red bar groups that you might be in didn't exist, all the watch friends that you have weren't available to you, you would have no anxiety. You would not be having this painful dilemma every day when you wake up in the morning about what watch to buy next. So if there was no social media, no internet, there would be no anxiety, and there would be no fear of missing out, no FOMO. So social media creates FOMO, and I think we need to accept that as well. So guys, I promised you that at the end of this video I would give you the secret to watch collecting happiness. I would give you the life hack that's going to take you to the end of this excruciating journey, and I'm going to give it to you now, guys. And it's a hack that I'm going to break up into 3 parts for you. Do these 3 things in the sequence that I'm about to give them to you, and you will have hacked the watch journey. Okay? Number 1. Sell your entire watch collection. Every single thing, everything. Sell your G-Shocks, sell your Rolex, everything. Sell your Tissot PRX, sell your Seikos, sell your SKX. The only watch I don't recommend you sell is one that you might have inherited, like an heirloom or something like that. Don't do that. Just keep that in the safe and forget it. Sell your entire watch collection, guys. That's number one. Number two, delete all of your social media accounts. Delete your YouTube account. I will need to delete my YouTube channel. I will need to remove myself from Facebook. I will need to delete everything, my entire presence on social media, particularly with relation to watches. Delete it all. Okay, so now you've sold your entire watch collection. You no longer own a watch, and that includes G-Shocks, because you've got a phone, right, that can tell you your time. So you've sold all your watches. It's not really a big deal, guys. It's not gonna affect your life. You know, if you miss having something on your wrist, then, you know, go and get yourself a little lovey-dovey wristband. Get your wife to make you one or something like that, so it's got a little bit of an emotional kind of attachment, and stick that on your wrist. Or your children, get them to make you a nice little band that you can put on instead of your watch, because you've sold your whole collection. And of course, they're going to want to support you through this. You know, your family, you're going to need your family support to do this, by the way, before you get to the number three, which is where it all comes together. Get your family to support you on this when you're selling your watch collection. You know, make sure that they're supporting you, so that they're giving you emotional encouragement to do this, and make sure that whilst you're selling all these watches and letting them go, that your family is making you a nice little lovey-dovey wristband that you can put on instead of your watches. You've deleted all your social media accounts. That will take you about 5 minutes. That will take you about 5 minutes. Once you've done that, go into your history and clear your entire history, so that then your laptop or your computer forgets your logins. So you can't accidentally, on purpose, just log in maybe once a week just to see what's going on. Delete all of your passwords and everything as well. Delete all your history. So that's 1 and 2. Number three, guys, this is the life hack to skip all of the agony in the watch hobby. Number 3, once you've sold all your watches and once you've deleted all your social media accounts, with the proceeds that you've got in the bank from selling your entire watch collection, depending on how much money you've got, go out and buy the most expensive black dialed diver's watch on a bracelet that you can afford with the money that you've got, and wear that watch for the rest of your life onto your deathbed, and never ever look at another watch again. Because honestly, guys, all we need in life is a black dialed, nice luxury black dialed dive watch on a bracelet. That is literally the life hack, guys, to this journey. Now, I think some of you are going to be quite upset with this life hack, because what I'm basically suggesting is that we sell everything, we delete our entire presence on social media, and go and buy a Rolex Submariner, guys, because that's exactly what I think the life hack is. If you're not prepared to do that, you will remain in watch collecting agony for the rest of your days.